Mr. Wilson Teaches Little Warrior Edition. This provided lesson is a challenge. We're going to be creating warriors today through drawing. This is the finished product. Mine's name is Wally. So I'm going to walk you through step by step on how to create your own warrior, and then you're going to submit it, and we're going to see what you guys were able to come up with. Today for supplies, you're going to need a piece of paper cut in half, about this size. You're going to need a pencil, and you're going to need some sort of marker, whether it be Sharpie or a ballpoint pen. And you're also going to need something to color it. It's your choice what you want to color it with. I use crayons and I also use Sharpies, but if you have something else that you prefer, like oil pastels, watercolor, whatever it happens to be, you're welcome to use that. So you're going to follow along step by step, and then you're going to submit, and we can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Okay, so some of the supplies you're going to need. I've got a number 2 pencil, or you could use mechanical, that can erase for our sketching. I'm going to be using a black Sharpie, which hopefully you have around the house, or you can find a black ballpoint pen if you need it. You also want to have something with color. So I've got a box of Crayola crayons, and I've also got some Sharpies to pick from too. You could use colored pencils, you can use magic markers, pretty much anything you have around the house. So just try to find something with some select colors that we'll use to fill in. So I've got all my supplies out. I've got a piece of paper that I've cut in half, so it's a little smaller size and easier to manage. And I'm going to show you my warrior step by step, and then you can create yours either by copying me, or you can change a little bit as you go and decide how you want to make yours individual, and we'll talk about some of the color options for that as well. So on my paper, I'm going to start by drawing where I want the head to be. So the head should be basically like an egg that's turned upside down. So I'm going to start right in the center here and draw this egg shape. So it's a little pointier at the bottom. I'm just going to start by sketching in that shape to start. So I'll move this a little closer so you can see the egg shape. So if this was to be flipped the other way around, that would be an egg standing up on its bottom. So you want it to be a little pointier towards there. So we don't want a circle, you want it to be more oval. And then I'm going to draw on lines for the neck, and then just some lines going out that will look like the shoulders. So there's how you start the sketch of what you want it to look like. We're going to draw in the face. So this is going to be a cartoon character, so you don't have to worry about it looking realistic. I'm going to start with some big eyes. I'm going to make them real close together, just with 2 black dots for the pupils. I'm also going to draw in a nose, sort of facing the side, so like a backward C. And I'm going to put a big smile, which we'll draw some stuff in later. And then I'm going to add some small C and a backward C for the ears. So let's see if we can zoom up a little bit so you can see it better. Right, so there's the start of that face. And then you can decide if you want long hair or short hair. So I'm just going to sketch in some short hair. It comes up. And then we're going to start working on the body. So you can make any expression. You can change all that stuff as you go. You can add in eyebrows. You can add in teeth. You can add lips onto it. So you can decide how you want to make your expression. After that, we're going to move down to the body. So the body, we have to leave space, so there's our shoulders coming down, which are going to connect to our hands. So we're just going to leave a little space and draw in 2 lines that are going towards each other. So this is going to be the body. And then we're going to put in the upper bicep and tricep. Just going to draw them in. You see, I'm just lightly sketching in some of these angles to make it look like the body's coming off the paper. And I'll draw a line where the waist would be. And then he's going to end up wearing a warrior skirt. We're just going to draw a basic shape there. And that's where his knees would be. So we're just bring the legs right off the page. So there's the lower half, the upper half. So his hand's going to come down. I'm going to draw on a thumb. And then 4 fingers. And we're going to make this other hand come up. So the trick, if you want to make your hand come up, you start by making like a big U shape. And then you're just going to pull your lines going up in the other direction. And then you just erase out a little bit there. Bring it across. And then we're also going to make him holding a paintbrush. So the easiest way to do this is to start by just drawing these ovals. So those are the fingers and then the thumb across. And then you leave a little blank spot. So you've got your 4 ovals that are sort of stacked on each other in a blank spot. So then you can draw something holding inside of it. So this is eventually going to be a paintbrush, sort of looks like the hilt of a sword. So I drew him holding it right in there. That might take a couple tries, so you might have to keep trying that. And that'll eventually be a paintbrush. Okay, so if you wanted to make this a female soldier instead of a male, there's just a couple changes. So a female will have more of a curved shape. You're going to come in more, and you're going to make these hips a little wider. So that's really the only difference in body shape that you'll have to worry about. So if you wanted to make it a female, that's all you have to do. Bring that in and bring that out a little bit. Now we're going to add on the armor. I'm going to do a U shape here. It's sort of like backwards parentheses over there, so that's the armor coming through. I'm going to add on a belt. And I'm going to draw lines on the skirt. This is going to look like leather straps. And I'm also going to put on a leather shin guard. And just so we know where the wrist is, we're going to put on some leather wrist guards as well. You can also choose to put a helmet on too. So if I wanted to add a helmet on, I'll sketch this on a separate sheet of paper. If this is my head shape right here, you start with a little arrow going down. You're going to come up and around, and over. So that's the top part of the helmet. And then you're going to draw in the Spartan army. They'll have the red coming out of here. So if you wanted to add a helmet on, you could just place that right over your character. Okay, let's go on to the paintbrush. So right now he's holding the hilt of a sword. We're going to turn this into a paintbrush because he's going to be an artist. I'm going to start just by drawing lines coming out of it. I'm going to add on some paint, maybe some splatters like he just picked it off his palette. And then we're also going to get a little creative here, and you're going to add your own word bubble. So when we do a submit and a show and tell, I'd like to see what yours says. Mine's going to say, I love to create. I've drawn in the bubble. So I've got pretty much my sketch done with what I like. You can add your own background. You can do some more fashion design. You know, there's all sorts of stuff you can do with this, and you can spend more time on it. But for now, this is what I'm going to go with. So now I'm going to take my black Sharpie and I'm going to outline because I know this is the design that I want. So I always start with a pencil and then I go into the Sharpie after. I start with the eyes. Now it's hard to go back if you mess up on this, but a trick is if you do mess up, you can take this and hold it up to a window and you can place another piece of paper on top of it and retrace. So if you don't do well the first time, you can try again. And then for the hair, I'm going to end up having black hair, so I'm just going to color this in sort of as I go. Otherwise, you could just outline it. You can also do this outline in color too, if you'd rather have a colored outline. Okay, so there's my outline sketch of my warrior. I'm going to take my eraser and I'm going to get rid of all those pencil lines. You just do a light little layer over everything. A lot of the color will hide all this too. All right, now we're going to go through and add some coloring. So I'm going to show you a couple different techniques. The first one is using marker as outline. I'm going to start by filling in an outline across all these lines. This is going to help keep the crayon from going out of the lines. I'm also going to draw some design work just using the Sharpie. It's going to look like it's been gold that's sort of been embossed. You could do all sorts of designs. So just doing something simple like that. And then I'm going to switch over to my yellow crayon. I'm going to lightly color in. So the Sharpie will help keep that color in. It'll look like detail work. And make sure I get rid of all the white of the paper. I'll bring this a little closer. You can see some detail work in there. I'm going to do the same thing starting with my skin tone. And those of you who have paint at home, you could also paint into this too. Just got to be careful that none of it smears. So a lot of times if I use something like watercolor, I'll do the watercolor first and then I'll Sharpie after. That's how you keep your paint from smearing. And you could of course just color it in. You don't have to do this outlining here. And I know some of you good, especially you 5th graders, will be pretty good at the shading part. So you could also try with your crayons doing some shading, so pressing down a little harder on some areas than the other. And show what you can do with that. Okay, let's see what skin tone colors I have in here. I'm going to use a peach, but you could technically choose whatever color you want and get creative with it. See how much easier it is to color once you put that Sharpie down. You don't really have to worry about the lines, you're just going to the marker color. Alright, oh actually I'm going to make this gold too. Okay, let's grab the brown next. I'm going to do all the leather working in the brown. It's sort of hard to see the brown against the black. Okay, and let's find my brown crayon. Okay, next I'm gonna choose a paint color. How about we go with a green? Pick green. And now we're going to add some gray, so the belt and gray, and maybe this sword handle will be gray too for our paintbrush here. And I'm going to fill in my word bubble. I used a heart here instead of writing it out. I can fill that part in. And a lot of times when I do something like writing, I can also outline that. So let's pick a fun color. I'm going to go with, how about a lime green so it really stands out. I'm going to trace over these letters so they have a little color to them as well. Okay, so there's my warrior. I'm going to name him too. So up here at the top, this is going to be Wally the Warrior. And then we want to know who made it. So on the bottom here, you can choose either corner. And put made by. And then you're going to put your name on it. And then you're going to take a picture and you're going to submit it so we can see. We'll also do a Zoom show and tell so you can show it off to your friends in your classroom that you don't get to see either. So good luck and hope you guys do well. If you have any questions, you can write in the comments below, okay?